Hi, I'm Josh Resnick. I'm president of Pandemic Studios, and you're watching GRTV.
I'm here with Josh Resnick at Pandemic Studios offices here in Los Angeles, and we're about to take a visit to the past and then take us through like where you came from and how you started Pandemic Studios.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I grew up at Activision. So me and the other founders of the company started at Activision roughly 15 years ago. And each of us had various roles there as a producer, director on the business side. And roughly 10 years ago, we broke away and formed Pandemic Studios. And actually, it was a really good start for our company way back when. Activision did a long-term deal with us. 10 years ago, we were working on real-time strategy games like Battlezone and Dark Reign, and they gave us a wonderful opportunity to kind of break off and create a very unique culture here at Pandemic, and start, working on games that we're really excited about. And over the 10 years, we've had a pretty crazy history. From our start with Activision, working on real-time strategy games just on the PC. A couple years into those 10 years, we evolved further as a company, and we opened up an office in Australia. And so we have two teams down there, and they're celebrating their 8th anniversary next month. And we started breaking out into new genres. So instead of just doing RTS games on the PC, we really started focusing more on kind of action-adventure games and kind of open-world free-play games that Pandemic is well known for now on multiple platforms. So at that time, obviously, we were on Xbox and PS2 and GameCube, and now we're on all the major platforms. Here, obviously, 360 and PS3 and everything else. And along the way, we had that coming together and partnering with BioWare, which was really neat, and that was a really exciting part of now our recent past. And just literally 6 months ago, we decided to join the EA family. And that transition, I have to say, has been fantastic. We're still the same independent Pandemic that all of our fans know and love, and we're still making all the great games. And now we get to tap into and leverage the amazing resources of an organization like EA, but doing it as a fiercely independent, autonomous studio within the EA family.
Could you expand a little bit about the culture and the ideas you had when you started the company? Like, what kind of gaming company did you want to start after leaving Activision?
Yeah, no, that's a pretty easy answer. I mean, we wanted to make a company that had a culture that prized fun, making that a very, very high priority at the company, and also a company that put a great emphasis on talent, on the quality of talent that we have here. And a lot of companies can say that, but we actually have practiced it over the last 10 years, where every decision we make, everything we have this filter on, where it's like, is this going to allow us to attract the best talent? Is this going to allow us to retain the best talent at the company? How do you do that? Well, one thing is you actually put money behind, a statement like that, and we have a full-time quality of life manager here at the studio. His full-time job is to think about ways to make people feel good and happy working at Pandemic Studios, whether it's movie nights or outings around EA, or throwing these huge parties that we do every year, thinking down to their ergonomics of their chair and their desk, everything in between. This guy is thinking about in terms of how he can make the experience of Pandemic a great one. Another thing we do is we really empower our employees to think, and I hate to say this, this cliche, but out of the box, and to really be creative, really push the limits, constantly be pushing Pandemic to be the best, but also really to aggressively push the boundaries of the genres that we're in. And if you look at the histories of the titles that we've released over the last 10 years, you can see some of that innovation in every single one of the games we've done. We've done something unique, a little bit different, a little bit special with each one of our products. And I really credit that to our employees, because we empower them to think that way on a daily basis here. We also reward employees to be thinking that way. So we have a very I would say, generous bonus program here with the company that really focuses in on the performance part. So when a title does really, really well and we knock it out of the park, our employees can do really, really well. And that's important, that there's a direct connection between I'm doing something on this game, I'm putting my heart and soul in it, and this game performs really well. I can see the tangible rewards of that. We also have a very open kind of community and kind of family setting here. Anyone can walk into my door and talk to me about anything. I meet with all of the new employees, me and my other partners, every single month. And we talk to them and say, hey, how was your experience coming into the company? How's your integration onto your new team? Let us talk to you about the philosophy of the company, what we believe in, entrepreneurship, innovation, taking responsibility, quality, and things like that. And it gives us an opportunity to get to know them well, and for them to get to us. I didn't say that right, Fred, but for them to get to know us as well. And it makes a difference. The second they've walked into the door, they're feeling like, hey, their contributions really matter. They're really being listened to, and that they have a place here.
Do you think that is a general problem in the industry, that perhaps you take on a few employees and you push them through a project and then you spit them out and
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I really do think that's a problem in the industry, and I think things are getting better. I think people are both waking up on the publisher side of things and the developer side of things, and realizing, and to me it's not brain science, how important their talent really are. Like if you don't have a culture that's fun and innovative and entrepreneurial, guess what? Your games are not going to reflect that. They're not going to be pushing the limits. They're not going to be fun. They're not going to be something that is worthy of a 13-year-old kid spending his allowance on. So you have to think about the types of games you're making, and in a weird way, make sure that that's really incorporated into the culture of your company as well. Too often talent are treated like cogs, and they're not given the respect that's due. Now, obviously, if people aren't performing well, that's a whole different matter. But if you set up an environment where performance gets rewarded, people get listened to, and their work is respected, and they're treated like professionals, amazing things will happen.
what was the first game that you felt was really, this was putting Pandemic on the map?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an easy answer, but probably a long one. I mean, the first game that Pandemic made that I think really set us apart from everyone else was Battlezone II. It was a very unique type of game where, in some respects, it was a traditional real-time strategy game on the PC, and you have this top-down view, and you're controlling a lot of units and kind of doing something similar to, say, the Command and Conquer series. The unique aspect of that is, though, we allowed you to be a commander in the trenches on the field. So you would come all the way down, and you can be in first-person mode in your tank, controlling your troops on the front lines as you were moving, acting more as the armchair general. So you kind of had that full range in the product, and it was an amazing experience. It was so much fun. In fact, it was such a different type of game that we really had a hard time marketing the game, because is it an action game or is it a real-time strategy game? And so there were some challenges there, but a very, very unique product. And then that led to another unique experience, Full Spectrum Warrior, which was this project that we originally were developing with the U.S. Army as a kind of a training simulation, and then it evolved into a commercial product with THQ. And what was so unique about it is we didn't put a gun in the player's hands. So here you are on the battlefield, urban combat, really intense, but you're commanding a squad of your soldiers as opposed to being the guy in, say, a Call of Duty or a Medal of Honor that's actually firing the gun and taking those targets out. And we came up with a very intuitive set of controls and things like that made it very accessible, and you felt like you were in the middle of the battle, but you were still a squad commander at the same time. So that's a piece of work I'm really proud of as well.
Were you surprised that Full Spectrum Warrior became such a commercial success as well?
Honestly, at first I was surprised by it, because we went from nowhere to somewhere so fast. It was really that E3, I think it was 2004, and we just rented out this little Pandemic THQ space, kind of in a side hallway. And our premise was, look, this is such a unique game, and so just different, that we just have to show it to people. And so we had our director, Will Stahl, just literally standing there 8 hours a day demoing this product. And as people saw it, they were like, oh my God, I've never seen a game like this before. And we saw the crowds getting larger and larger and larger, and all of a sudden we just got a tremendous amount of attention, and people got it, and they loved it. And so, I mean, we were really happy because we put a lot of hard work into it. But I was a little bit surprised how quickly it kind of came onto the scene and got people excited. And honestly, that game would have never been made under a traditional publisher relationship at that time. You know, the Army had a set of goals where that dictated we take certain risks on the design side that I don't think a publisher at that time would have been comfortable making. But once we had proved that out and THQ saw our work, then they saw we had something really unique.